All right, we're back. Day 3 of the track nose kind of front Anglia grill setup for the race car. I'll just spin you around here. We've basically got one side fitted on. Really nice clean line. Still has the really nice shape that kind of bubbles out here, so it should look really cool when we get the other side on. I went a bit excessive with the Clicos, but I just wanted to see how it was going to fit along that edge, so it fit really well. So over here, I got our second piece. So this is going to be for this side. And I'm just going to go over to the brake now, get our edge started, start shrinking. And the one tricky thing that's going to be with this one is I don't have a wire buck for this side. I should have probably, but I just decided maybe let's try and challenge myself and do it without the wire buck and see how close we can match it. So at least I have one for the other side to reference, but you know, probably would have been easier to make a wire buck, but I'm gonna give it the red hot crack and see how we go. All right, so we got a little bit of shape started in the left side sail for the grill. Just a bit of wheeling, got it done. Shape this way as well. Because I don't have a wire buck to check the shape, all I did was actually utilize the base of this, cut it out with a piece of cardboard, and then had it as a reference point, and it's starting to actually take a bit of shape. So I'm going to start to get over to the Sosa hammer and utilize this area and get this shrunk right in. So let's get started. Okay, so first pass through the Shape-O-Matic. Did 3 long ones here, and then another pass of say 4 or 5, and then did about 6 or 7 just to try and really curl this in. Try and match that side there with quite a bit of shape. So now we're just gonna go into the planishing hammer, finish it off, check the shape, and go back to the Shape-O-Matic and into here. So we got this one fixed on the side of the grill, and one thing I did was I actually laid some tape down here and flipped it and put it onto this side, and I've just taped it down and I've just put a little mark down there, and this just is giving me basically an idea of where this one's got to sit. not having that wire buck for reference has been a little bit of a challenge. I probably should have just made one. Having this one here and kind of going off of it, I have figured out kind of how to use it. Another thing too, I never really went over this, but this wire buck is made out of your just standard 1/8 inch filler rod. I've used 332 a lot. It's definitely a lot easier to bend than this was, but we just kind of had this here. And it's actually pretty nice to use, a little bit harder. It holds its shape a lot more. You don't have to kind of close it in and make a bunch of pieces to kind of hold the shape. It literally, you know, I can drop this on the ground and pick it up and it does not lose the shape, which is really cool. So yeah, a little tip, you can try and use it if you're comfortable with bending it. This is 1/8 inch filler rod, or 332 works well too, but yeah, give it a try. So on this side here, you can see down on this, it actually does have a little bit of shrink that we had to put into it. So for the other side, I've just got my shrinks in here. I've done a couple passes on the Shape-O-Matic, and then now I'm gonna take this, slide it straight in and work this area here, and then I'll end up trimming along this black line, take that off, and then we'll try and fit this a little bit better to this side. All right, so I did leave a little bit extra material on the bottom from my paper template. So now I've just marked this out. I'm just gonna trim this edge off and then we'll fit it to the grill. Just trimmed a little section in here flush with the bend or the break in the side of this grill so that that area will fit directly inside. So I just got to trim it a little bit more to get this flush. All right, so we got this one fitting relatively well so far compared to the right side. I just did a little bit more shrinking here. And we're gonna form this in and then I'll tip this edge and get it to fit the exact same as the other side, with hopes it will. All right, back on this machine. Hopefully I don't split the metal. Okay, so I think we've managed to get enough shape in this panel to match the other side. It does fit the grill quite well. So what we're gonna do now is just, got the tipping dies in the bead roller. We're just gonna tip this edge and then we'll start fitting it to the actual profile of the grill. got a bit of form starting to happen there. One thing I'm gonna try and do is this area right here actually needs just a little bit more shape to match that other side. I've already tipped it, so obviously I can't go in there and shape it and planish it a little bit more. But Carl just suggested that if I just add a little bit more air pressure to this, I should be able to stretch this out a little bit, and then I'll turn the air pressure down, and then that'll kind of smooth, and I'll be able to blend that area where I need to just raise it a little bit more. So we're gonna give that a try and see if we can get something shaped a little bit. I'm just gonna turn it up just a little bit more. Yep, that certainly gave us a lot more shape right where we wanted it. I'm just gonna try and get this corner up. So, we've got the panels situated, fitting really well. It fits really nice along this area here, and what I'm going to do is I've already scribed it, so I'm going to pull this off. We're going to cut this side, tack this side, and start finish welding this off, and then I will start to play with a little piece just down along this bottom side here to kind of fill this area where this really pulls in. So let's get started on getting this cut up. She's all tacked in, right? It's pretty cool. Basically, just like I envisioned it, sort of. Probably better, to be honest. So I've just finished tacking this side, so now I'm gonna have to go and kind of basically finish weld the whole lot. So do one pass from one end all the way down, same with this, one end all the way down. And then I will go back through and planish those areas and clean them up. So hopefully we can just get a really nice blend from where this kind of comes out and then this kind of bubbles, or you know, the contour changes quite a bit. Down here, it does fold in quite a bit, so I will probably put like a filler piece in the bottom here and kind of weld that in through here and up like that. So I'm just gonna leave that for now, but let's get this welded in and then we'll have a look at that after when I pull it off this piece here. She's out of the fixing that we had it in there. Our kind of our base plate and our wire on the back to hold everything together. It's free. It's fully welded all the way across. And I've just kind of gone through with the hammer and dolly and just tried to, you know, clean these areas up just a little bit before we start to planish it. A little bit right there actually I still need to put a bit of attention to and just try and get that up this way. But basically she's fully welded in and actually starting to take some shape. I think it looks really, really cool.
Probably 8. So right now I'm just marking out the radiuses that we've got here because we're going to change the die for the proper radius to help smooth it all out. So we've got a 3-inch radius up here. So we're going to use a 3-inch radius lower anvil on the planishing hammer, and then all of this seems to be about a 2-inch radius. So because we've got a little bit of flat spots and a little bit of, you know, work here, we're going to use a 2-inch die on the lower anvil and smooth all that out, and it should uniform, you know, make it all uniform. That's what I'm trying to say.
Should we always lock these too?
You probably don't have to. But you just gotta watch, make sure that it's not like backing off.
Okay. So I'll just come up to kind of this area.
Yeah, just run over the twos.
Run the twos.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, so this area, it's either a little bit overdeveloped or we still have a low here. So this low, I think this is the low, right? It's nice and flat. Let's just quickly check it with the radius gauge. Yeah, she's pretty close there. She's getting close. It's looking nice, but that is definitely a low, so you can concentrate on here and try and just develop it a little bit.
Okay. So right there.
Yeah. That happened very fast, didn't it?
Didn't it?
I think we're
A bit too much pressure?
a little bit too much, but that's okay.
Yeah,
That brought it right up.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do a little bit in here, it seems like. You got a little bit of a wobble. This is low, right? Do you see that?
Yeah. Right like there, kinda?
Yep.
Yeah.
you've got a little bit extra pressure to stretch, just try and only work that spot.
Oh, don't move it.
If you come over here to a spot that's already pretty good, it's gonna keep stretching that. So we just kind of like stretch that little area and then we'll turn it down.
Right.
And then go over the whole thing to smooth it again. But it's pretty good. It might be a
bit high there, right?
It could be
or
a
maybe
little
a bit low.
Yeah.
Well, we
we might have to hit the shrinking disc a little bit, but this all did come up pretty nice. So we got a little bit of overdevelopment here. If Jordan looks straight down there, you'll be able to kind of see it. Where this is nice and shallow, it's got a little bit more shallow of a curve, and this has just been a little bit much. We're trying to hammer these weld seams, you know, onto the same plane. So there's just a little bit much here, but it's not a big deal. We're just gonna do this. This is a bit of Sharpie. This is Ray Chaline's Pro Shaper's shrinking disc. Paired with a planching hammer is just amazing. So what we're gonna do is do this. It ends up being like machinist die, Dicom or whatever, but it also will lubricate the disc a little bit to make sure that that stainless doesn't gall. So we're gonna hit this. It's just gonna sink that right down again, shrink it right down, and then we can go back to the planching hammer and smooth it out again. That's it. That's all there is to it. You're gonna need some water though.
And pressure?
Not much pressure. You're just gonna roll over that, kind of like that, a little bit, and then you're gonna be able to tell whether or not it's hot enough by this steaming.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe not quite enough pressure. You can go a little bit harder, try and hold it flat. Like try and get the flat, yeah. Instead of the edge, instead of using the edge, hold it flat.
So we've just done a little bit of shrinking, kind of right in this area. And we've got that Sharpie on there kind of just to show us, like Carl was explaining, kind of using it as the machinist die and that, so you know your high and low spots. And just because where I've had to section and weld this, you know, obviously this area is just sunken in slightly. So I'm just gonna get on right in here with the hammer and dolly and just kind of stretch this area out a little bit. And then we'll do a few more passes and get this really smooth. That shrinking disc definitely makes quite quick work of getting those high spots, you know. I think I kind of overworked this area with the planishing hammer. And basically, you know, created that bubble that needed to kind of come down. And the shrinking disc, yeah, it's crazy. Like I've never really used one a whole lot. And it just makes such a big difference. So once I clean this up, I think it'll be easier to see in the camera. All right, after a little bit more shrinking here, it's just still a little bit low right in this area. But what I'm gonna do basically now is just 80 grit this out and then just kind of have a look and see what it looks like. You know, I don't have to be like super meticulously perfect with this as much as like I would love to have the whole thing metal finished without any, you know, weld seam at all. But it is just going on the race car. I'm not trying to cut a corner. I'm just explaining that like I could put so much more time into this, but it's going to be enough for what I'm trying to accomplish with this. The whole thing's getting painted anyway, so I don't mind having a little bit of filler in this, and then it's going to get, you know, primed, blocked, and then painted. So I'm happy with what I'm working with right now. So what I'm going to do is just sound this side and see what it's going to look like. Boom. Look at that. Well, one side is basically finished. The other side is not. I kind of wanted to show, you know, a 90% finished side versus a side that obviously needs to be, you know, planished still, sanded, and worked a little bit. But basically, that's kind of what I envisioned. And, you know, with an immense amount of help that Carl, as much as, and knowledge that he kind of showed me along the way, it was so fun being able to, you know, cut this up, put it in my suitcase, and literally fly from Australia here, re-weld it and structure it to, you know, what we've kind of made it. So, you know, this is going to be the leading part of the race car, and, you know, I think it's just such a special piece to be able to come over and do it with one of my best mates. So I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I cannot wait to get this back and get it on the front of the car and, you know, start to build the rest of the body behind it. So it'll be an interesting one getting it back. We'll see what happens there, but, you know, hopefully get it there safe and sound. I just want to, you know, big shout out to Carl at Make It Custom for, you know, allowing me to come into his workshop and make a ton of noise and use all of his tools and that. Absolutely just super stoked on that. That is a wrap. So the next time I'll see you guys is back in Australia, and we'll be back on the race car, and we'll be, you know, time crunch. We got 2 months to get this thing done before the race. So yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe. It means a ton. All the comments, all the positive feedback that we've been getting so far, you know, it actually really makes this super exciting to do, and have such a positive following behind it. So really appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next Bennett's Customs.